What is the acid test ratio, and how can you use it to compare a company's assets? In this episode, you will learn the meaning of the acid test ratio and how you can take advantage of it. Let's get started. The acid test ratio is used to compare a company's quick assets to its current liabilities. The quick asset that will be compared are usually cash and accounts receivable. In most cases, the acid test ratio is generally referred to as the quick ratio. This implies that the acid test ratio uses an organization's balance sheet data as an indicator that shows if it has sufficient short-term assets to cover its short-term liabilities. The acid test ratio is known as one of 6 elementary calculations used to determine short-term liquidity. This implies that it enables a company to be able to pay its bills at due time. The acid test ratio disregards current assets that are quite challenging to liquidate fast enough. An example of such an asset is inventory. Businesses with an acid test ratio that is less than 1 do not possess enough liquid assets to pay their current liabilities. Hence, such companies should treat their current liabilities with caution. When the acid test ratio is smaller than the current ratio, it implies that a company's current assets are highly dependent on inventory. Keep in mind that depending on inventory is never a bad sign in most situations. But some companies' business models highly depend on inventory for their operations. How will your business benefit from the acid test ratio? The acid test ratio offers the following benefits to companies. 1. In most cases, inventory can be very seasonal in nature. As a result of this, it may vary in quantity over an annual period. This may lead to deflating or inflate on the liquidity position. The acid test ratio removes this problem by avoiding inventory from the calculation. 2. The acid test ratio offers a suitable repayment strength for a business against the current ratio in a dying industry with a very high inventory level. 3. The acid test ratio eliminates the inventory from the calculation. This elimination is not always considered liquid. This implies that the process gives a more suitable picture of the company's liquidity position. How can you calculate the acid test ratio? The acid test ratio is calculated as short-term liquidity. The formula for calculating the acid test ratio is as follows. Quick assets multiplied by cash plus accounts receivable divided by current liabilities. This formula concludes how many dollars a business has available to pay each dollar of bills it owes. Basically, a company should have an acid test ratio of at least 1:1. A business with less than a 1:1 acid test ratio will want to create more quick assets. Such a business can attain this milestone by offering discounts to increase sales, asking shareholders to invest more cash in the company, or collecting on accounts receivable. When calculating the acid test ratio carefully, you will surely improve the financial status of your business. Thank you for staying put to the end. We hope that you learned something about the acid test ratio. See you in the next episode.